continue our economics class with the same chapter 1, Introductory Microeconomics from part A. Okay, so today we'll be knowing about the types of economies that we have all over the world. Okay, so there are three types. Here I've mentioned the name capitalist, or which we also call as market economy. Then we have the second one, which is called centrally planned or socialist economy. And the last one we have mixed economy. So here we'll be learning about the features of this type of economy. So let's come to the first one again. Under capitalist economy, the first point here is all the means of production are owned and controlled by the private sector. Okay, so in a capitalist economy, all the productions of goods and services are conducted by a private sector only. Okay, so the private sector owns all the means of production in a capitalist economy. Number two, people are free to take economic decisions. Okay, so free to take economic decisions means which good to buy or which good to sell. Okay, what goods to produce or whether they should buy the goods or not. Okay, any decisions related to that can be taken by the consumer by themselves. The government do not interfere. Okay, and the consumer can also buy luxury goods, okay, the costly one, or maybe to the cheapest product. So it is their choice. Next is tough competition among different private firms. So now in a capitalist economy, no decisions are controlled or regulated by the government. So private firms tend to carry on with a very tough competition, so much so that sometimes it affects the quality of the product. Okay, they try to earn so much profit and try to reduce the cost of that particular goods, and sometimes it leads to compromise of that particular quality of the goods. Next, we have all the decisions are generally guided by profit motive. So now in a capitalist economy, whatever decision that a producer takes, it is only meant to earn profit. It is not meant to benefit the people at large. Okay, now if we talk about the interference of the government will always think about the benefits of the people in large. Okay, but here in a capitalist economy, the decisions are profit oriented. Okay, like suppose if I had to sell alcohol, which is not good for the health of a person, in a capitalist economy, a private firm will sell it if they are getting benefit out of it. Okay, so that is the real motive in a capitalist economy. Next, we have the government does not interfere in any economic activity. That means government will not interfere to the private sector telling them which good to produce, what to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce. No interference has been seen from the side of the government. Private sector can take their own decisions relating to the means of production. Next, we have market forces of demand and supply. So in the last class, I have told you about how prices are fixed by the market forces of demand and supply. Okay, so in a capitalist economy, prices are fixed on the basis of that market forces. So according to the higher demand of the product, the particular goods are sold in large quantity. If the product is having less demand, it is produced less, or maybe it is not produced at all. Okay, so everything depends upon the market forces. Next, we come to the centrally planned or socialist economy. Let's see the features here. Number one, all the means of production are owned and controlled by the government. Okay, so now it's just the opposite of what we have learned in the capitalist economy. In a socialist economy, all the means of production are governed by the government. Okay, the government takes control of all the means of production. Number two, all economic decisions are taken by the government. So the government will be taking decisions relating to what goods to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce. So all the decisions are taken by the government, and there is no private interference. Number three, no competition. So now since all the private firms which exist, okay, are all owned by the government or under the control of the government, so there is no competition among them because prices are also fixed by the government, keeping at par with the benefits of the people at large. Number four, decisions to maximize social welfare. That means in a socialist economy, it is assumed that whatever decisions the government takes, it is meant for the benefits of the people. Either it be relating to production of goods, okay. So now if the government had to take decisions in a socialist economy relating to productions of alcohol and production of rice, suppose, okay. So in this situation, the government will select production of rice in place of production of alcohol, because alcohol will be affecting a person's health. Okay. So in a socialist economy, it is assumed that the government takes decision to benefit the people. Next, decisions by the Central Planning Authority. Now here, in the Central Planning Authority means, like in India we have this planning commission which is called Niti Aayog now. Okay, so in a socialist economy they have this Central Planning Authority which try to make plans for the country. Okay, which try to make plans for the goods and services to be produced in a country, like the 5-year plans that we have in India. Okay, so similarly in a socialist economy, such authority will make decisions relating to what goods to produce, how much to produce, and for whom to produce. Okay, last we have mixed economy. So now mixed economy, I haven't mentioned the features because it will be a mixture of both the capitalist and a socialist economy. Okay, so in a mixed economy, all the means of productions are owned either by the government or by the private sector. That means in a mixed economy, both the private sector and public sector exist together. Okay, and prices of the goods in such an economy are fixed by the market forces of demand and supply. But the government can interfere in cases if the price which is fixed by the market are either very low or very high, which will be affecting both the consumers and the producers. In that case, government can interfere and fix a reasonable price which the producers will not have to suffer loss. Okay, at the same time the consumer will not have to spend more in that case. Okay, that means a balance will be maintained so that customer can afford that reasonable price. At the same time, producers will not have to suffer loss. Okay, so a reasonable price will be fixed by the government in that situation. So mixed economy is a mixture of both the form of economies. Next, we will learn about the central problems of an economy. Now this is a problem which is faced by every economy of the world. And this arises out of the fact that resources are scarce and resources also have alternative uses. So that's why the economy or the government always have to face with a problem to decide which are the various goods and services on which the resources must be spent. Okay, and that's why the problem of allocation of resources arises as a result. So allocation of resources is a problem in which the government decides as to what are the various alternatives, okay, or what are the various ways in which the resources which are scarce will be used for the purpose of allocations on the various goods and services. So let's see the 3 aspects of the central problems of our economy. First one is what to produce. Okay, so here the government will be deciding on what are the various goods or services that the government need to produce in a country. Now why does this problem arises? Because since we have many alternatives and the resources are scarce, so obviously government will be making out a list of which are the various types of goods and services to be produced more and which are the various types of goods which have to be produced less. Okay, so here what type of goods to produce and what will be the quantity will be decided under this first aspect. Now the second aspect is how to produce. So here it talks about the techniques of production. Either goods should be produced using capital intensive technique or it should be produced using labor intensive technique. Okay, in the last class I mentioned a little bit about capital intensive and labor intensive also. Capital intensive means where more of machines are used in place of human labor. Okay, and labor intensive means when more of human labor are used in place of machines. Okay, so what will be the technique used for the purpose of productions of goods and services will be decided here in how to produce. Next we have for whom to produce. Now this is another third aspect of the central problems of an economy. Very important question. Now here the government will decide as to who will be the category of people. Either there should be middle class people, rich people, poor people, or what kind of a consumer it should be to whom that particular goods which the government has decided to produce will be sold out. Okay, so that becomes the third aspects of the central problems of our economy. So who will be the category of people for whom the government will be producing those goods. Now if you talk about the central problems of an economy, this can be solved in the various economies in their own ways. Okay, so let's see how this problem of a central problems of an economy will be solved in a market economy, or which we say capitalist economy. Okay, so now if we come to the problem of what to produce, now how this will be sorted out in a market economy. The producer will be producing only those goods which has higher demand and which is having a less supply. Okay, because it is only on these two types of goods that the producer can charge higher prices. Okay, I hope you remember that in a capitalist economy, the producers are always profit oriented. So they will always prefer to produce those goods which are having higher demand and which are having less supply. Now how to produce? What are the techniques they are going to use? Now techniques are not mentioned, but they will generally choose a technique out of those capital intensive or labor intensive, whichever will be making them spend the minimum cost, which will make them spend less, okay, and which will make them earn higher profit. Any technique, it can be capital intensive also, it can be labor intensive also, whichever will make them spend less money, they will prefer those technique. Next we have for whom to produce. So for whom to produce will be only those category of people who can afford higher price of goods. As we already know, in a capitalist economy, there is tough competitions amongst the producers. Okay, so producers will be interested to produce goods only for those people who can afford the high price of their goods. So this is how decisions will be taken in a capitalist economy. Now let us see how this will be sorted out in a socialist economy. So now in the first case about what to produce. Okay, in a socialist economy, since it is controlled and regulated by the government will produce only those goods which will be useful for the people, which will benefit the people at large. Okay, so anything which will be affecting the people, government will not decide to produce those goods. Next we have the problems of what technique to be used, how to produce. Okay, so now here it says socially beneficial technique. I have mentioned over here, which means that the government will adopt only those techniques which will benefit the people at large. Okay, like suppose if the government adopt capital intensive, we generally find that in this situation many people have to lose their job. This will be affecting the standard of living of many people. So the government would not want that, and that's why here in this situation the government will adopt only labor intensive techniques so that more employment can be provided. Next, third question is for whom to produce. Now generally in this economy, government produce for the poor people because they are the people who cannot afford high price goods. Okay, so if the government feels that that particular good is very important and majority of the poor people are demanding it, they will produce even at a loss. Even if the government is not going to earn any profit out of that production, still if it will benefit the people, the government will decide to produce those goods. Okay, next let's see how this will be handled in a mixed economy. Okay, so India is a mixed economy, so you can relate to that here. So now the first problem relating to what to produce. Okay, so here market forces of demand and supply. That means whatever is fixed by the demand and supply forces of the market, that goods will be selected by the government for production. Okay, it can be selected by the private sector or by the government, goods which are having higher demand. Okay, at the same time, since this economy is a mixture of both the private and public sector, yes, of course, those goods which are useful will also be produced equally. Next, both the techniques, as I have mentioned over here, since private and public sector both exist or coexist in a mixed economy, both the techniques of production will be preferred. Okay, so government will go for labor intensive to produce more employment, and the private sector can go for capital intensive to reduce their cost. So both the techniques of productions are preferred in a mixed economy. Next we have for whom to produce. So now here in a mixed economy, since we have both the private and public sector, as I have mentioned, so the private sector can produce to earn profit for the rich people, for the rich category of people, and also at the same time, since this economy is also governed and ruled by the government can also decide to produce those goods which have social considerations. That means which will be benefiting the people or affecting or influencing the larger sections of people in the society. So this is how the central problems of an economy will be sorted out in a capitalist economy, socialist economy and a mixed economy. So today we have learned about the various types of economies, the central problems of an economy and how it has been sorted in these various types of economies. So we will learn some more from this chapter in the next class. So for the time being, bye everyone.